Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the raw data behind Meta's sweeping corporate restructuring. If you're a software engineer, or honestly just someone following the tech space right now, you know something massive is happening behind the scenes. We're going to dive straight into the exact numbers driving Meta's historic artificial intelligence pivot and explore why it's literally changing the industry forever. Let's get right into it.
We're kicking things off with the raw, breaking data. 8,000. Meta is initiating an 8,000-person job cut. That represents a full 10% of its global workforce, and this massive reduction is rolling out in 3 distinct waves. Now, this isn't just a minor trim to balance the books, right? It's a structural earthquake for one of the most powerful tech companies on the planet. I mean, cutting 1/10 of your workforce changes the entire operational dynamic and culture of a business practically overnight.
Section 1. The 8,000 job cut.
So, where exactly are these cuts hitting? Well, they're definitely not random. These layoffs are taking a heavy toll on critical infrastructure roles. Meta is specifically targeting the integrity team, that's the group in charge of removing malicious content and hate speech, alongside cybersecurity units and content design. Historically, these were considered untouchable, foundational pillars for any social media platform. Reducing headcount here signals a radical shift. Traditional platform safety and legacy design structures are clearly taking a back seat to a brand new corporate priority. The resources that used to maintain the core product are being aggressively rerouted.
For the thousands of workers affected in the United States, Meta confirmed a compensation package that offers a temporary parachute of sorts. Workers will get 16 weeks of base severance pay, plus an extra 2 weeks for every year of employment. It's a standard exit package for tech giants, sure, but it provides pretty little comfort during such a turbulent industry shift. When 10% of a massive workforce is let go all at once, the job market gets instantly flooded with top-tier talent, making the hunt for a new role highly competitive and, frankly, incredibly stressful.
Moving on to Section 2. Shifting roles to AI.
Now, this is where the reality for software engineers becomes incredibly stark. We're looking at 6,000 previous hiring plans that have been completely canceled, just gone. But at the same time, 7,000 current employees are being actively redirected into AI workflow-related roles. Meta isn't just shrinking, it's aggressively cannibalizing its traditional engineering base to build out its artificial intelligence infrastructure. If you're a traditional software engineer right now, the writing is clearly on the wall. The mandate is to adapt to AI systems, machine learning, and automation, or risk total obsolescence. The roles that literally built the modern web just aren't the priority anymore.
And the environment for the folks still working there? It's tightening drastically. We're seeing a marked decrease in general worker spending. Annual raises are being slashed. And get this, the median total compensation is dropping by nearly $30,000. Think about the sheer scale of that drop across a workforce of tens of thousands. This financial squeeze is the direct result of redirecting vast amounts of capital away from standard software engineering, content management, and daily operations, and funneling it entirely toward highly resource-intensive AI initiatives.
Section 3. The internal morale crisis.
Inside the company, morale has absolutely plummeted. This was triggered heavily by the launch of an internal AI tracking program designed to monitor worker data to help train Meta's own AI models. As you might guess, this sparked a massive backlash. Over 1,500 employees signed a petition demanding an immediate end to this data collection. The tension between the tech giant and the engineers building its platforms is at an all-time high right now. Workers feel monitored, undervalued, and deeply skeptical of management's end goals. I think the crux of this whole morale crisis is captured perfectly by a stark quote from an unnamed policy employee who spoke to Wired. They stated that the U.S. workforce is, quote, being used to train the AI models that will replace them. This isn't just everyday workplace grumbling. This is very real existential dread. Engineers are terrified that their daily labor is literally coding their own digital replacements. They're being asked to build the very automation that will render their current skill sets entirely obsolete.
Section 4. The superintelligence bet. So, what is the multi-billion-dollar strategy driving all this intense internal friction and downsizing? It's all in service of one massive goal, Meta's superintelligence initiative. And the financial commitment here is just staggering. Capital expenditures are forecast to more than double from 2025 levels, hitting anywhere between $125 billion to $145 billion by 2026 alone.
While Meta pinches pennies on median salaries and slashes traditional headcounts, they are pouring hundreds of billions into the compute power, server farms, and specialized hardware required to achieve artificial general intelligence. It's a fundamental reallocation of wealth from human labor straight to machine infrastructure.
Mark Zuckerberg actually defended this unprecedented AI investment during an April earnings call. He framed it pretty bluntly, saying, "The way to think about the investment is that we're making a bet that people are going to be more important in the future. It is a colossal, long-term wager on the future landscape of technology." And interestingly enough, Wall Street is digesting this completely neutrally for now, with shares up just a fraction of a percent following the news. The market is essentially holding its breath, waiting to see if this incredibly expensive gamble actually pays off in the long run.
Which brings us to our final section, an industry-wide trend.
We really have to step back and ask ourselves, is this harsh pivot, this intense internal restructuring, and the resulting job loss just a meta problem? Or are we looking at a sign of things to come across the entire tech sector? Well, the data strongly points to a wider paradigm shift. A recent Goldman Sachs survey reveals that artificial intelligence is already driving 16,000 payroll cuts per month this year. So Meta is far from alone. Legacy tech giants like Cisco have also announced they're shedding roughly 4,000 workers. What we're seeing at Meta is just a microcosm of a massive, industry-wide reallocation of capital. Companies are moving budgets straight out of traditional operations and legacy software development directly into the AI arms race. As we wrap up this explainer on today's huge news, I want to leave you with one final critical question to chew on. As AI development accelerates, how will the global workforce actually adapt to the age of superintelligence? The shift is already here, the massive pools of capital are moving fast, and the landscape of tech employment is changing forever. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack the data today, and I'll see you next time.